Okay, so 2001 Infiniti i30. Yeah, that's what it is. Came in here, car was called in there for a no start condition. Very first thing I wanted to do was sit there and turn the key on. And they said it cranked, but it did not start. So I turned the key on. I don't see any security light. I attempt to crank it. I leave the key on for a second, and there it is. Some cars will do it when you're in the middle of cranking. Some cars will do it after you've cranked. So if you're in one of these situations here, and this is where these guys got slipped up a little bit, if you go in there and you go crank and you don't see the security light coming on, leave the key on for 2 seconds. See what the security light is. I've already diagnosed this car, by the way, but this is just me showing you how to do the quick testing on it. Out comes our little buddy. We sit there and we take that, and I'm going to try to do this with one hand if I can. And I'm going to lay it up over here, like so. And let's see, can I prop that up over here? I think so. Maybe. Nope, maybe not. Ah! Okay, that wasn't me. Somebody else did that. Oops, there we go. Alright, so I'm going to hold this in here for a second. Try to hold this up with my key. Sorry for dropping you guys down. I'm going to put the key in there and let's move that LED to where we can see it, and I'll turn the key on. If I can do that all in one movement. There we go. And there was no flash of the LED. Do it again. No flash at all of the LED. So, what does that mean? Quick checks. Powers and ground. In this case here, even though we're in a Nissan NATS system, they're going to call this one an IVIS. So EL NATS is going to be the diagram. And real quick look at the diagram. If you're not familiar, you're going to have a power that comes in here through a joint connector. It's going to come in here and feed in on the white and blue wire. L is blue in Nissan world. Let me zoom that back out for a moment. Okay. The next wire that we're going to have here is going to be this red and yellow. That's going to be another power feed that comes in there. One is going to be ignition power up here on the top. The other one that's going to be here is battery power all the time. And over here we have our security indicator. Computer's going to ground that to turn that on. After having the key on, just like we just saw, that's what's going to turn it on. So power feed here. We already know that this one that comes in, at least we have power coming in through this fuse. Doesn't probably need it to do anything. Then we have our ground wire over here at pin 4. That's going to be a black wire, and the most important wire, I think, in my opinion, is going to be this orange wire, other than checking the powers and grounds. And that one there is going to be, they're going to call it the IM line. So that's going to be the immobilizer line. I guess that's probably what it stands for, or the IMU line. And that's what we want to see some kind of a change on. So I grabbed U-scope. I'm back probed right now on the orange wire first. So we have it in there, pierced into the orange wire. And if I turn that key on, I would expect to see something like a 0 to 7, 0 to 12, and the key's on, off, absolutely no change whatsoever, nothing at all happening on that line. So that's what the very first thing you want to do is just see whether or not you have anything on the orange line. If you do, then you're looking at something like possibly a bad key. Again, that we already knew that our ring was showing us that there was no red LED, so you know, you could have both though. It's just, you know, an idea, but you would want to see something happening here on this line, even if it's a command to say, hey, it's no good, and there's nothing at all happening on that line. So real quick again, powers and grounds, we could go through those. We'll go on there. We have the red and yellow and the white and blue. White and blue being the power all the time. So take this, undo it from here. I already have this thing unmounted, so it'll slide around on me a little bit. That's our white and blue. Remember guys, turn it till you just barely feel the wire. Once you feel it, let off. Nothing else there. And you can see the green line all the way up there at the top. We have battery voltage there on that wire. We're going to move it from there over to the red and yellow, and that should be our ignition power. So undo that, spin it around, and even though these are on the inside of the car, I will do the same thing. Of course, I can't see my screen now because people are calling while I'm trying to make a video. And okay, I'm on it. Slide that back on there. Hopefully I didn't grab that other wire there, did I? Yes, I did. Move that out of the way. Give it a screw in. guess it doesn't really matter if I have it hanging down for the moment. I'll leave that down there. And all we're doing here is verifying the powers and grounds coming in, and of course another person's calling on the other line, number 2. Let me turn that off. Sorry about that. And do the same thing there, key on. Right now, I see nothing on there. Am I in the right wire? Nope, not in the wire all the way. Turn the key on, there we are, 14 volts. So our ignition power is good. And the last one that we're going to be checking is going to be that ground. AES Wave also sells these. I know I showed it in another video, but just how you guys will be able to see it. This would also, if I would just have a regular voltmeter on here, I would take this out, switch it over to power, and then look just to see if I get negative voltage on there. We can do all that, but it's simple enough though. There's already a load in the circuit, so all I got to do is just move over to the black wire and verify that ground. So, same kind of thing. Let's make that wire a little bit more accessible. I don't know why it keeps on going out of focus on me, but that's our ground. Feel it going in, and just give it a little tweak more, and that's our ground. Let me try to get you where there's no glare. Okay, turn the key on, and you can see just a momentary little blip down there at the bottom, but it tells us still that we have integrity of that wire because it did pull a little bit of a load. So that was there, all that's good. Powers and grounds are good. The immobilizer line should be good going back over to the computer. We cannot, I don't have any way at all to trick that line. There's no bypass test or anything else that we can do in order to try to, get it to where it gives us some kind of a reading. The codes that came up in this thing were P1610 and a P1612. I should have brought out the code reader again to show you, but figured I'd give you a little bit more than that this time around. You see the launches laying there on the floor. We're going to take this guy out of the way. That's the old ring. And from Nissan, we've got a new one already. So they normally keep these things in stock, high failure item, but we're going to take that. We're going to do the exact same thing here. We're going to plug that in. We're going to get it set up on here. Hopefully it won't wiggle all around on us. Plug it in. Oop. Yeah. Really should put in the set screw for it. There's a set screw on the top of these, by the way, so you do have to remove the covers if you want to get this out. Let's see, I don't know where they have this stuff here. These guys pulled it apart when I wasn't here. Well, there it is right there. So let's see, can I get that little set screw in there without causing too much of a havoc? No, because I have to hold the harnesses out of the way and I only have one hand thanks to the phone. Alright, so forget about it. We're going to plug it in and I'll just have to hold it there. I'll hold it in place. And we're going to do the exact same thing, except this time around we're going to switch back over again to, if I can find the end of the lead here. There it is, it's underneath the launch. And we're going to go right back over to our orange wire. Here's our orange. Remember, that's the data line that's on there. I'm sorry, I'm doing this with my hands here, not looking through the viewfinder. So I'm in, give it a little bit of a tweak, just that way we know we're actually in all the way. Grab the keys, and what I expected to see, if you notice already, I'm on that orange wire, and I already have 14 volts there. I haven't even turned the key on yet, but I'm going to turn the key on, and that right there was data. That was a A-OK sign or a no good sign. That's what I wanted to see. So that's what you should see on that orange wire. We've already verified the powers and grounds. I don't have to check any of those again. The only thing that's left here is just going in there and actually setting up that new key, or setting up the key to the new immobilizer module. So if we slap the launch on, I'll go back out. I'm already in the menu because I was going to do it without a video, but I know some people have a hard time finding this. So I will go and do this, and it's going to beep at us. Yes, I know. It's a nice little feature to make sure that you don't leave the dongle in the car. So we're going to go into Infiniti. I want you to know, by the way, this job would have taken 3 minutes, but I'm just trying to show you guys. So go in there, vehicle with 16 pin, If it was a 2000 Infiniti, we'd be using the 14 pin. And we're going to go into maintenance. I know it doesn't seem like that's where it should be, but it is. NATS, and we're going to go into other mode. When you hit other mode, it's going to go in there and it's going to search out which kind of NATS system this actually has. And wait for it. And wait for it. It should be a NATS 5.0 because it's an older one. There it is, NATS 5.0. It'll tell you be careful, watch what you're doing, make sure you know what you're doing, make sure you're a security professional. Go to CU initialization. It's going to give you all this good stuff in there. On the older ones, this information right there, number 5, and you can pause it if you want, is going to give you your PIN code for these older cars. That's only for ones that have NATS 5.0. So 5523 being the code. And it's going to tell you how to do the registration process here. We only have one key for this car, so we're only going to do the one. And we're going to hit 5523 and hit OK. And it should come up and say initialization completed. If it doesn't, you've missed something. So hit OK. And what you'll want to do is turn the key off. Turn the key on. Now sometimes on the newer cars you'll get that security light will blink a couple of times to let you know it's there. In this case here we have to actually crank, and we're running. Up and going again. No security light on. We are good to go. We have a engine that runs. We had a bad NATS module. You get to see the new NATS module, you got to see the testing, and you got to see how to set one up. So I think that's it. Still under 12 minutes. Happy, and have a great day.